What's good, Kinganda? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another collaboration here on the Kinganda YouTube channel. Make sure that you guys like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And today I am here with a very talented brother. He gives out a lot of information. Some of you may know him, some of you may not. But I have Fred from Samantia Farms. I'm going to let him introduce himself and what his channel is all about. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you very much, Duke. My name is Fred. I'm from Samantia Farm, as most of you might know, most of you might not. But on my channel, I talk about agriculture, and I am practicing intensive farming and poultry farming, all sort of livestock farming. And I'm the focus is being transparent and honest about everything relating to agriculture in Africa, so that people that are out there, either being from the diaspora or even in the city, who are thinking about going into agriculture, could have the actual data that is missing out there to make the right decision and have a better business plan so that they can succeed in the agro business. So that's really the focus of my channel.
Okay, and the name of the YouTube channel is Farming in Africa, Ghana.
Yes.
Okay, so for those of you, please go and subscribe to that channel. I'll leave the link in the first comment below. I was going through YouTube looking at agribusiness videos because we have some of those here on our channel, and you have some really good stuff, especially on goat farming. You cover pig farming.
Yeah,
you give a lot of good information that it's hard for me to really find out, and you kind of explain it in very great detail. But the best video that I saw was "Don't move to Africa without a solid plan."
Yeah.
And also you were mentioning "Don't move to Africa without quitting your job." That's a great video. What was the inspiration for that video, and why did you make it?
So I made that video because, I realized that the content that I was providing wasn't just a one-time off. So people watch it and they're excited, they want to do it. It's not enough, they want more. So I created a WhatsApp page to be able to communicate, and it was so much. So then I created a consultation where people can click on a link in my description and book a time with me for free. So I started, consulting with people each and every day. And last week, I actually consulted with about almost 20 people. And out of it, most of them were asking me this question about moving to Ghana and, with what they have saved. And I spoke to this couple that had moved from abroad to Ghana, knowing that they could succeed. But then when they came, they didn't have enough capital. And now the little that they brought, they've actually exhausted it, cannot go back, and they are stranded. So they're talking to me about loans in Ghana, and it was very sad, plus a few that was asking me about all these questions about, bro, I want to come to Ghana. I see everything that people are talking about, moving to Africa and so on, but this is what I have, this is what I want to do. And if I look at it, I'm like, it's not going to work. It's not like that, and there's a lot of content on YouTube, talking about this person moved from here and started this in Ghana, this person moved, and it's inspiring a lot of people, which is good. It's coming from a good place. But what is missing is, how did you succeed in doing that? Is that able to actually meet your needs? And there was nothing like that. And that's the inspiration about that video. So you could see that it wasn't edited. I recorded it in the morning when I was about to head to the farm. And that was the inspiration around that.
You were reaching a lot of people, especially those in the Ghanaian diaspora, but also African Americans have been going to Ghana for a long time.
Yeah.
It's the number one, I think, if we talk about moving to Africa, if you want to do that, a lot of African Americans go to Ghana. And one of the things that you were talking about is, before you just decide that you want to move to Africa, don't quit your job, because if you start a business, can this business sustain you? And you started talking about how to set the business up, leaving and coming back, doing that over time. Talk about the patience that it takes to actually move to Africa to set things up.
Yeah. Yeah, so like don't get me wrong, Africa is definitely like there's a lot of opportunities for you to do. But in everything, just like anything, if you don't plan well, your likelihood of failing is high. And that is the same to a continent where you probably have no idea of the culture of the business ethics, and so on and so forth. And that's why I think that before you move in, a couple of visit. I spoke to a brother from the US who wanted to move, and he wanted me to actually buy him a land in Ghana. And the first thing I told him is, "Have you been to Ghana before?" He's like, "That no." I was like, "You need to come here, book a flight, come to Ghana. I'm going to support you, take you around, see strategically in terms of what you're going to do. Where should you even position yourself? What is around you? Because the Africa probably is not what is on the ground. Come see what is happening, and then you can make a better decision, and that's what is going to lead to success." Most of the people on my channel will ask me about what is the source of my money, like how am I doing it? And as you said, is the patient, the things that I've put in place when I was living in London, in the US, knowing very well at the back of my mind that I'm going to move to Ghana the moment I'm done. So I think that's sort of the patience that you're talking about.
Let's talk about your story, because you've been working for big companies and you were born in Ghana, right?
I was born in Ghana, raised in Ghana. I just moved outside Ghana for education.
Okay. Yeah. Born in Ghana, raised in Ghana. So you're, like I said, I don't know if is it Tree language that people speak?
The Tree language, yeah.
Okay, so you know the customs. Unlike somebody like me, I'm African American. I'm from California. Yeah. I don't know anything about Ghana. Yeah. Even you, a person who understands the language, people. Yeah. How many years has it taken you to set things up in Ghana so that you can live there full time? I mean, you're a Ghanaian. You're from there, right? Yeah. How many years has it taken you to get off the ground? Like, going back and forth, set things up, going back and forth. How many years is it taking you?
Yeah, so I'm in different sectors in Ghana. So I'm in the tourism sector. I'm in the education sector. I do construction. I do agriculture. I do IT, right? And if I look back, my first startup was 10 years ago. So it has taken me 10 years of putting things in place. And till now, I could say that I'm not solely dependent on any of my businesses still, because I still haven't gotten it to the point where I feel like I want to still depend on it. So I still do some side hustle on the side, trying to still pay the bills with it, whilst I just invest every dime that come out of my business into the businesses to get it to where I want it to get to.
So for you, it's been 10 years and still ongoing.
Yes, exactly.
You had a story that I heard you talk about, a gentleman that was living, I don't know if he was living in Europe or living someplace. He worked for like 30 Europe, all right. Worked for like 30 and 40 years. Talk about that for the audience, because it's a sad story, but it needs to be told. Go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, I think it is, for privacy, I'm not going to give enough detail, but this gentleman had lived in Europe for over 30 years, with a wife. Left Ghana, I guess when he was very young, and migrated, worked there, and then got to a point, I'm not sure if he's retired, but decided to move to Ghana and start a business. So he moved back. And because he has been gone for so long, they didn't even know like the state that the country was in, the cost of things and so on. So I actually asked him how often was he coming to Ghana. He was like, he smiled and said, "No, I wasn't coming at all." So I decided that my wife and I will move back. So he moved back, and with the capital that he came with, he started purchasing land, getting few people on board, and realized that he wasn't going to be able to start the project. He didn't even start small, because he started very big. He bought a very big land, and now he has the land. He's been able to clear it, but he has no funds to actually start it. And he's saying, at my age, what am I going to do back in Europe? I better stay here. And now he's thinking about getting loans and so on from banks with about 25% interest rate. What? Crazy. Like, why wouldn't you put a better system in Europe to get that loan and invest it in Ghana as time goes on.
Woo! 25% interest.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So, yeah. So, where you can get these things less cheaper outside the country. So it's all about planning. That's what I mean. Like, it's exciting. I'm creating my job. I'm going to Africa. For the first week, you might get a few shout out. You might get a few people saying, great job. You're so bold. You can do it. But when you hit on the ground, Africa has its own challenge. And even us that have been in it, we still face it each and every day. Right. And to me, that is the information that I want to put out there. That yes, you can make it work. You can't just go to the US, buy a land and build a school or a hospital, but you can come to Africa and do that, with a few like paperwork and get it happening. And that's the opportunity that it has. But it also comes with its own challenge that you need to be aware. You need to prep for it. You need to come up with a way to manage that to be able to succeed.
Let me ask you, because you talk about challenges. I was in Uganda for 11 months last year, and I was able to see some of those challenges head on. But as an entrepreneur in many different sectors, what were the challenges that you were facing, that you're facing now, currently, post COVID, daily? What are some of the challenges you're facing in the business?
I think, first of all, I think there isn't a lot of systems, put in place to support whatever that you're doing. And that is part of a developing country, so a lot of things that you could, even though there is a law or, you might read an article that this exists, get into it. There hasn't been a thought through process of supporting you to get there. Infrastructure is a huge thing. You might have your farm like in a rural village because that's where you can get the resources and the land that you need to work. Getting your goods from that village to the city is a whole big problem. Talking about roads, talking about access to transportation. Like if you're even growing vegetables, getting them to the city quick enough, right? And then the third one is actually human resources. Getting the right people, things like in agriculture. Yes, you have people that are educated, but the focus hasn't really been on, on things like agriculture, on skilled labor, where you can actually get people to come manage your farm, to get veterinaries even to your farm that are skillful enough to be able to take care of the investment that you've put in. It's also a challenge. So it's like we are fixing it as we go along, and those are some of the things that could be very surprising. Because if I start a cattle farm in the US right now, I bet there is a place I can go and be assigned a veterinary to come, and people who come and know what they're doing. So some of these things could be very challenging in the entrepreneurial environment.
Let me ask you something, because I was talking about Farm Up, the Dr. Daniel at Farm Up, and shout out to him. He's an associate of mine. I was able to meet up. We drove to Mbale, had a good time, and he came back to our studio and did another interview. Although I was already back here in Poland. But I see that you have a lot of great footage of you and pig farming, poultry farming. And people seem to be interested in that on our channels, especially the African American community. I know that you do poultry.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of my good buddies, Wardy Maya. He's getting ready to get into poultry. So let me ask you this: what are some of the is pig farming? If you had to pick between pig farming and a person had the capital to do it to start, pig farming, poultry farming.
Yeah.
Which of the two are better in Ghana, and how would you advise somebody to start, even if they're starting small, and try to build up that farm over time? What would you suggest?
So before I look at any business and before I give you a suggestion, I think I look at from the other side, the demand, right? If the demand already exists, and how big is that demand? I said on my channel, egg is one of the things that we do not import into the country. So from since I entered into the poultry business, there's always been a demand for eggs. So if you're starting with layers, you can be very assured that there's no way your eggs are going to be sitting at the farm wasting. Because people will always come. My birds were a few weeks when people started approaching me at the farm, registering to buy eggs. And since then, I've always have people coming to the farm and purchasing the egg. That demand to me I see an opportunity in expanding, and I see an opportunity or a future in the farm. But when I come to pigs, unless I see that there is actually an abattoir or a market that is a ready market that's willing to buy from you, if not, then, buying from just selling to just the streets and to the market is not something that you can scale in, right? Recently, the information I have is that the president from his One District, One Factory initiative is building an abattoir in the Ashanti region, which is going to be slaughtering about 600 to 800 pigs a day. If that is happening, and if that does happen, then definitely that is going to create a huge demand for pigs. So if I'm a farmer and thinking about going into the industry, then I know that I am targeting that as a demand, right? So in terms of picking which one, I will first of all look at what the demand is out there before I decide which to go into. And even in your neighborhood or community where you're starting it, a bit of research in terms of what is the demand around there will be my advice towards which one to choose.
But you saying in Ghana, doing layers, you're sure to get your money back, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from my experience, from what I've done, there's not been a time where I have eggs and says nobody wants to buy the eggs. No.
You're always being sold out.
There's always people coming, and you can't. And I mean, in December, people fight over eggs. It's crazy. Like in December, the prices go so up, and the demand is so crazy because we are sending it to other African countries as well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we have in Ghana, if you're looking at again, we have a clear winner, which is poultry. So and I thank you for the information. Just one last question. For anybody who doesn't understand the poultry business, because obviously some people want to get involved in some type of agribusiness opportunity on the continent. What would you suggest for a person that doesn't know poultry? Let's say a person like me, would like to possibly invest, but I don't know about poultry, but I have capital and I want to learn. How would a person like myself, or just anybody listening, get involved in possibly trying to get into the business, small scale, and then going forward from there?
Yeah, and I think that's a great question. I started poultry farm when I had no idea. To me, the whole idea was to do it and feed my school with it. So it is possible. Poultry is a very risky business. If you don't take care and put in the right measures, you could run at a loss very easily. And that is why most people are very scared when it comes to poultry farm. But it is something that you can learn. You can master it. If you have the capital and decide not to cut corners and do things in the right way, you will succeed in it. But as you rightly said, you start small. When I started poultry farming, I didn't actually build my pen. I had to go and rent somebody's pen, and I was paying I think $10 a month to this person. And the first birds I took was about 200 birds. Tested with them, I lost so many of them, and then the next batch I took about 300 birds, experimented with them till all of them started laying. So I've learned the brooding process. I learned all my vaccination. I learned how to medicate. I learned how to prepare my own food, and knew that which ratio will be better for better productivity, and so on and so forth. So right after that, I then went into to get 1,000 birds, and then move on to another 1,000, and then move on to another 2,000. So I gained a lot of on-ground experience by starting small and moving one after the other. So if you do go to my channel, I have a lot of advice on how you can start and the processes that you can take in order to learn. And there's a lot of information out there on poultry. Everybody does it different, but I would say start small and learn and build something for yourself by keeping the records and what you're doing, so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to tell. When I told my agri officer that I was experimenting, he thought I was crazy, because he was like, it's such a huge capital. Why would you experiment on something like that? Just do it, get your money. I was like, then how will I be able to have the confidence to expand to 40,000 birds, 50,000 birds, if the ideas and the methods are not owned by me?
Mm-hmm.
How do I know what is going on in my farm if I'm just copying from people and not really experimenting to make my own sort of guidebook? And I think that is the route that I took, and it's been very helpful. Now I can confidently give people the ratio of feed, the medication, the vaccinations, just because I've tried it and I've seen a huge productivity rate in what I'm doing. So I think that would be my advice to people who wants to start. The risk is there, but it's also manageable.
Okay, so the risk is there. Just one question. I know 1,000 birds in Ghana CD. How much is like 1,000? I mean, if you were to buy 1,000 chicks, I mean, how much is it?
1,000 birds will be maybe about 1,200 cities.
For 1,000 birds?
Yeah.
1,200 CDs?
Yeah. 1,200 cities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it isn't much. Getting the birds initially isn't a big problem. It's the feeding cost that rises. And I can tell you on top of my head that if you're raising 1,000 birds, you will be spending about 6,000 Ghana cedis, which is $1,000 every month on their feeding.
Wow. Okay, so that is a lot of money. Okay, well, I definitely appreciate. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming in. Tell people, why should they subscribe to, your channel? Go ahead and tell them, what they should expect also on your channel when they subscribe.
Yeah, I think what I want to do with my channel is basically give out the information that is out there. It all started with me going into cattle farming and wanting to find out the best practices that I can. But I realized that the agriculture market in Africa and in Ghana specifically hasn't been tapped by this generation that has access to the technology and information, and they are not bringing it back into it. So, for example, when I wanted to do intensive cattle farming in Ghana, I couldn't source anything online. I went to the States and visited some ranches, but all the food suggestions they would give me, I couldn't find them in Ghana. So I was like, yeah, I'm here to learn, but all these things that you guys are telling me, I can't find it in my village. I can't find it even in Accra. So, but where do I get this information? So I realized that we are lacking those information. And that is why I decided to share what I'm doing, whether right or wrong, so that people that will start the next generation. So if maybe my channel even isn't for this generation, but the next generation wouldn't have to repeat the same mistake that I am doing. And that is why I'm out there being as transparent as possible, giving you all the data so that you can sit at home and make the right decision. Because if you want to go into poultry farming now, I spoke to a guy who says, I want to draw a business plan. And I'm like, on what basis? Do you know how much a bird costs? He's like, no. Go out there, because nobody's putting it out there. Do you know how much you're going to spend on feeding? He says, no. Yeah, because no one is putting it out there. So I want to put all those details, information out there so that it will be easier if you're sitting anywhere in the world and you want to come to Ghana and invest. You'll be able to take your pen and paper and jot all that down and have an expectation so that you don't fail.
No, great. I definitely thank you for coming on, guys. Check out his channel here. I'll post it at the first comment pinned to the top. And it's been another interesting episode of Kinganda. And as you know, keep it real. Kinganda forever. We're out.